Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? So, today I wanted to talk to you about something that's happened to me recently that has not happened to me in many, many years. Something that used to be a very a very large part of my life. Happened to me, and it was completely unexpected. But I had a game design idea. Well, I had a game mechanic idea. While I was driving back from my daughter's soccer game last Sunday, her last soccer game of the season, I was thinking about this game I've been playing on the Switch, Slay the Spire. It's a really awesome deck building card game that kind of mashes in one of my favorite genres, which are roguelikes, which is where you die and come back, with deck building genre. Works super, super well. I was thinking of that, and I was thinking about a game that I designed years ago, and I don't know, I've just grabbed all this stuff. If you don't know me, if you didn't come here because of games, and you just found me on the internet, if you don't know, I used to design board and card games, a lot of them. I had one on Kickstarter, Pull. I've successfully launched this on Kickstarter. Never did anything with it after that. Tuesday Night Tanks is a cool little tank battling card game that I did. I did a game called Paper Route. This is Paperboy, the card game, and I'm actually really, really proud of this game. It plays really, really well. I did some games that I gave away at Gen Con. In fact, before I started this show, I did a series of like 3 or 4 videos of me designing a game on camera, and then I published that game and took it to Gen Con and gave it away for free. And I've done that twice. Well, I've done the giveaway part for free twice. I've published games, or I've designed games about racing, robot dogs. This is not the stuff I was looking for when I went in that room. I've had a lot of game designs, but one of them has stuck with me for the last at least 20 years. 20 years ago, I was stationed in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. I was running a game store. Oh, this is some of the stuff I wanted. I was running a game store, and I was playing a lot of Magic the Gathering. And at that time, I had this idea. I wanted to make a game where, oh god, this is a zombie game. I tried so hard to make work and never could get it to work. I really wanted to not necessarily redesign Magic the Gathering, but I had this concept of a game where you played a card game like Magic the Gathering, but you rolled dice instead of having lands in your deck. And this is kind of what I'm looking for. I designed a little card game called Monarchy where you were trying to build a kingdom by collecting subjects, and you rolled these dice to get money, and you use that money to buy subjects for your kingdom. And it was a neat concept, but I could never get it to work. The game was just slow and boring, and there wasn't very much progression. And for the last 20 years, I've attempted to design a game where dice are resources, and you buy things and build, either a deck of cards or an engine or whatever. And I've tried dozens of designs, but only one, was good. And it was a little game that I designed called Hedeby. It got its name because it was a generic city building game, and my friend said, that's dumb, there's too many generic city building games, come up with something better. And I said, fine. He said, make it about Vikings, and I said, fine, it's Vikings, I don't care. And then I discovered that the Vikings literally had this moment in time where they went and raided another city, stole all their people, brought them back, and built a new city. So it fit the theme. And I went through dozens and dozens and dozens of iterations of this game. Literally, like 30, not dozens and dozens and dozens, probably just like 30-ish iterations of this game. And this one that I just found some of the pieces for ended up in the hands of Mayfair. And they've had that prototype for the last 5 years. It's set at Mayfair essentially all that time. When I gave it to them, it was a deck of cards and some dice. It was a very simple game. This is another iteration of it that is a post-apocalyptic theme. They helped me develop it into a full-fledged board game where there was a board and there was islands that you went and raided, and you needed ships to do that, and you could go get new lands and new people, traders and masons and stuff to come build your city. And it worked really, really well at that time. That version was pretty sought after. And I had multiple publishers interested in it. But it had been a dream of mine to get published by Mayfair. So I let them have it and said, just take as much time as you want. And then they kind of dissolved. I hope to find out what happened to that prototype soon, because what I have here in this notebook, the reason I'm digging through all this stuff is I have a new version of that dice-based engine, and I think that this version of that dice-based engine fixes a whole lot of other issues that I had developed little cards and little things for to mitigate some of the luck of the dice, to mitigate some of the randomness that the player would feel. I had blessings that would let you re-roll dice and stuff so that you could feel like you were doing something even though you really weren't. I have a way to fix that with this engine, and so maybe I revisit that theme. I don't know, because it has been so many years since I've worked on a game design, and this was the last one, and this was probably 2 years ago. This is yet another version of Hedeby, just set in a post-apocalyptic setting. I even 3D printed bullets for this version. I made little duct tape coins because that was money, and this version actually played okay. I would like to revisit it at some point, but I'm really actually interested in exploring this little dice theme, this little engine. The thing is, I don't know that I have a game to go with it. Right now, it's just an idea of how to use dice and cards together in a unique way. There's lots of other games at this point. When I started working on this idea, there was not a lot of other games that used dice and cards to form some sort of engine or deck or whatever. You know, Ashes Rise wasn't a thing, that sort of stuff. So, this... I'm not going to claim that I invented the dice and cards game. That's not a thing. But I now have to kind of explore myself what's available in this space, because I don't want to just take. Right? I've always wanted to make my thing. So I'm excited about it. But the thing is, so I have a dice engine. You roll dice, you'll get cards that make rolling dice better. That can make you set up some sort of strategy using those dice that mitigates the luck of the dice. It helps you kind of tweak and manipulate the values that you get when you roll so that you're not stuck with whatever you rolled. I don't know what to do with that now. And maybe, you know, that initial prototype that I showed to Mayfair was essentially just some cards were worth points and some cards weren't. And you were trying to buy the cards that were worth points, but they were expensive. And so you kept having to buy other cards to get them, and that's literally all it did. And so maybe I revisit and just build a super simple little thing again, which is what I've told thousands of people in the past at talks and in person. You know, this used to be a huge part. I used to travel all over the country and do prototyping shows and help people with their games and have people play my games, and man, it was a huge part of my life, and I lost a lot of that on the medication, and so maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll revisit some of it. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to share that with you, in case you didn't know. It's been a while since I've talked about designing games, because I haven't done it. But that's all I have for now. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Taser in fact comes from Wikipedia. How did the city of Atlanta get its name? Atlanta was originally Terminus, and Governor Lumpkin asked them to name it after his daughter instead, Marthasville. In 1845, the chief engineer of Georgia Railroad, J. Edgar Thompson, suggested that Marthasville be renamed to Atlantica Pacifica, which was quickly shortened to Atlanta.